Hello, everyone. Hope you guys are well. Hope you're having a great start to your day wherever you are in the world. I hope you're well, and I hope you've had a good start to your week. It is, of course, Monday, and today we're talking about weight loss injections versus real food, the truth about keeping it off. Because if you've ever lost weight only to turn around and regain it all again, you're not alone. We are busting myths and sharing what actually works today for long lasting health. And I'm going to be giving you 10 practical tools and tips that you can use and you can implement today if you really wanted to ensure that not only do you have long lasting success, but everything we're talking about is, of course, backed by science. So we're doing that today, talking a little bit about weight loss injections versus real food. But before I get into it, I just want to first let you guys all in on a not so well kept secret. Last night, we announced, we didn't draw, it was a competition of skill. We announced the winners of our amazing competition. Of course, that is the trip to Thailand. We gave that away last night. So it's a trip for Thailand for two people, all thanks to, of course, our wonderful Boost protocol. So that happened last night. And if you weren't able to join us on the live call yesterday, I will be sharing with you the winning entry, the entry that was worth over $25,000 to these two BHK ladies. They decided to team up and do a combined entry. So it was regardless of whether it was one person entering or the two of them. They did a fantastic job, and the judges loved it. Couldn't rave highly enough about this amazing entry. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys that entry in a couple of minutes. But firstly, just a very good morning to Claudia, who's joining us. Good morning to Debbie, and good morning to Janine. This is from Janine. Morning, all. How exciting was last night's announcement? It really was. And we even got to speak with one of the winners live, which was so cool. Just to kind of be able to hang out with her. I gave her a call. I think I may have gotten her out of bed because it's a little bit late in New Zealand. They are based in Auckland, our two winners. So I got to speak with one of our winners live, which was fabulous, and let her know in real time that she won the prize. So I'll be sharing with you guys the winning entry, and I'm sure you can agree with me. It is a fabulous entry. It hits all the marks, right? There's honesty, there's realism, there is the two of them speaking about their journey to wellness through Boost Camp and, of course, Boost Protocol. Then there is them sharing their joy of how much they're enjoying this amazing product, this organic wellness syrup of ours. And then they go off and they start having fun, and they share that fun and enjoyment with us. I just thought, how beautiful. What a beautiful story that they told in just a couple of minutes. I honestly felt like after watching their entry, honestly felt that I knew them just that little bit better. And it was really interesting. It was one of the comments that the judges made as well, was they felt that they really connected with this video that they had produced. And look, by the way, can I just say it was not easy choosing the winner. It was really hard. And I know because I had a lot of toing and froing from the judges throughout the weekend as they were going through the entries, and they really struggled. There was just some absolutely amazing and creative entries that people sent in that was just for myself and my BHK team. It was really humbling just to see how much energy and thought and love went into so many of these entries. So to our two winners, and our winners are we have the beautiful Margaret Howe and also Anne Roundtree, two ladies from Auckland who are actually have been on Boost Camp for a little bit. In fact, Margaret's been on Boost Camp for quite a bit, and she introduced Anne to the Boost Camp family. And of course, now they are enjoying their journey so much, and we get to hang out with them in a couple months' time in Thailand. So, for anyone who wasn't part of our live announcement last night, this is what they gave us in its entirety. Are you ready? Here we go.
Hey Margaret, here we are having our Boost protocol in the park. So we're here today to show how we take it and of course what it's done for us in our daily lives. For myself, I've had irritable bowel for many years, getting worse and worse. I've had exhaustion through the day really badly, and I've had restless legs at night that have kept me from the wonderful deep sleep I've been getting since I've been taking Boost Protocol, and all the other things have gone as well.
Hi, I'm Margaret. I'm 69. I am a full-time carer for my ex-husband who has dementia. I came across Bridget's Healthy Kitchen in October last year, and I've lost to date 18 kilos. Boost Protocol entered our life a few months ago, and it is fabulous. I have maintained my weight. I am not depressed anymore. I sleep better, and the taste is fabulous. It's sweet like honey.
You got to get up every morning with a smile on your face and show the world all the love in your heart. Then people gonna treat you better. You're gonna
Now that we're full of Boost Protocol, I think we'd better go and have some fun.
With Boost Protocol, you can
Boost Protocol. Oh, I love you.
With the workday wind blowing, I've got nothing to do but watch the passers-by. Mirrored in their faces, I see frustration growing, and they.
But wait, there's more. Boost Our Way Thailand.
With a smile on your face and show the world all the love in your heart.
With Boost Protocol, you can
How absolutely fabulous is that? I've got tears just watching that. I've watched it a few times, but every time I watch it, I just have to smile. And now I'm having a little bit of a cry because I just think what they put together, it just, it really hit what we want people to be experiencing when it comes to Boost Protocol, when it comes to Boost Camp, and of course, what it means to be a part of the BHK family. Those two really are living their best lives. And you know what? They're boosting their way to Thailand. And I'm absolutely positive that we are going to have a blast hanging out with Anne and Margaret at our retreat. You know, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a hoot. I think it's going to be a hoot. So, congratulations again. Congratulations to Anne and to Margaret. What an amazing, amazing job you guys did, and very well deserved prize for the two of you. So, we are excited that we are able to get that competition successfully done. And as I was saying, before announcing the winner, I was really nervous all weekend as I'm getting all this feedback from the judges, and even to at one point, I wasn't sure whether they were going to be able to make a decision because they were really deliberating. There was some fabulous entries posted, and there was just so much creativity and heart put into it. So, congratulations to every single one of you who entered. With what a great job you did. You've just created the most amazing content over the last couple of weeks. So, today, what we're talking about is weight loss injections versus real food. So we wanna kind of do a side by side, weight loss injections versus real food. Even we're going to be talking a little bit about weight loss surgery versus real food. And I'm going to be sharing with you the truth about keeping it off for good. So weight loss is a topic that often, appears in healthy wellness spaces. Because for myself, I originally started this journey because vanity got the better of me. And I hated the way I looked. Yes, I was concerned about my health, but actually, what caused me to take initial action was that I really disliked how I looked. And that little bit of vanity really sparked me into action. It really forced me to start to take a bit of control. Once I was doing it for only a couple of weeks, weight loss was no longer my goal, believe it or not. Sure, it was still there. I think within a couple of weeks, I'd lost 6 kilos, which was more weight that I had lost, in a decade, and I'd done it in 2 weeks. And so concerned me that I was still carrying excessive weight. But the thing that really kept me going was I very quickly moved past just the weight loss aspect of my journey because I just felt so good. My moods had improved so dramatically. My pain had decreased dramatically. I had more energy, which was incredible. And I was no longer feeling out of control. And that only took a couple of weeks. Yes, I stuck to it. And, within 6 months, I was down close to 35 kilos, which is, nearly 80 pounds worth of unwanted fat and weight that I had managed to get rid of. And I felt amazing. And of course, I looked amazing too. So when it comes to weight loss, the thing that was freaking me out the most was that I would regain all the weight again because I had lost all the weight. I'd put in the hard yards. And there was a part of me that was a little bit nervous, thinking, well, what do I do now? Like how do I keep the weight off? That was the part of me that I was unsure about. Well, that was coming up to nearly a decade ago that I started on this journey. And yes, I have kept the weight off successfully, within sort of sometimes putting on an extra 5 to 7 kilos, depending on what I was doing. But I've kept that weight in my sweet spot for nearly a decade. So, what's the difference between me having long term success and other people regaining all the weight they have lost and often putting on more weight? So, we are going to be talking about that today. And I'm going to be sharing with you 10 practical tools, 10 practical tips that you can implement today if you wanted to ensure, like me, you have long lasting success. We're also going to do the verses, right? What's the success rate of weight loss injections compared with real food? What's the success rate of weight loss surgery compared with real food? What's the success rate of exercise compared with real food? And in those 10 tips, we're going to be giving you the stuff that you can literally do right now. It's all the practical things, all the things that you can sink your teeth in, for want of a better analogy. So let's get into the science. So research shows us that food is your most powerful tool. I'm going to say it again because it's really important. Food is your most powerful tool when it comes to long-term weight loss success. Surgery, like weight loss surgery, bariatric surgery, and injections, weight loss injections like Ozempic, have high failure rates because they don't teach you the sustainable habits. Yes, they may initially help you to lose weight, but unfortunately, they have high failure rates because they don't actually teach us how to live. They don't teach us the practical day-to-day steps, how to cook, how to eat, how to shop. They don't teach us that. They give us something that we rely really heavily on. And the minute we stop with that, well, it's hard to stop with weight loss surgery. But what often happens with weight loss surgery is that They're making the stomach capacity smaller. So in making the stomach capacity smaller, you eat less food. Makes sense. Small stomach, can't get a lot of capacity into there, gonna eat less, gonna lose some weight. But remember, the stomach's a muscle. And if you don't learn how to eat nutritionally and you continually eat the same foods, your body's going to give you the same results. And eventually, that stomach muscle will be stretched out to where it was pre surgery. So it's one of the reasons why weight loss surgery has such low success rates. And it's another reason why weight loss injections have such low success rates, is that we don't learn those sustainable habits. Those sustainable tools are not given to us. Like, there is no cooking classes that are included in our surgery, is there? Or no how to shop or meal plans that are actually sustainable long-term lifestyle changes. So going to give you guys the comparisons. Now, I've got my document here. Give me a second. So these are some of the comparisons. So when it comes to weight loss surgery, over 95% of people who have weight loss surgery regain the weight that they lost post-surgery. Over 95%. Like, that is massive, right? To be in the less than 5% club when it comes to weight loss surgery, my goodness me. Like, the odds are stacked against you. Not to mention that weight loss surgery is invasive. It can be problematic. There are a lot of side effects that can happen with weight loss surgery. And the real kicker, they're super expensive. Weight loss surgery is definitely not the cheap option. And if you've got less than 5% success rate, yet you're taking all these risks and potentially financially burdening yourself at the same time, there's got to be a better way, right? There's got to be a better way. Now, when it comes to weight loss injections like Ozempic and Mounjaro and Wegovy, with these weight loss injections, there is 70 to 80% failure rate, as in once the injections stop, weight is regained and regained quite quickly. There is also a whole host of side effects that we've spoken about many times here during the podcast. Loads and loads of side effects that come along. Anything from paralysis of the stomach, right through to increased risk of thyroid cancer, right through to digestive issues. There is just, there's hair loss, there's muscle loss, there's all sorts of side effects that come along with those injections. Yet success rate is often less than 20% of people. So, and they're expensive because you're doing something, an injection is every single week. You need to take an injection. So then there's that. There's also exercise alone. And when it comes to exercise alone, the other thing that we've got to be very mindful of is that exercise alone will give you very minimal weight loss. Minimal weight loss. Maybe, if you're lucky, 3% of your current body weight. So if you weigh 100 kilos right now and you choose exercise alone as a weight loss aid, you could experience up to 3 kilos of weight loss. That's not very much, right? That's not very much. So you're getting minimal short-term results. But the long-term reality of exercise alone as a strategy for weight loss is, again, that 3 kilo loss that you had by working out, that 3 kilo loss, you've got less than a 20% chance of keeping that 3 kilos off. Less than 20% chance. And we know there's a lot of work in exercise alone. So when it comes to generic weight loss plans, and these are the ones that, interestingly enough, have actually gone out of business in the last couple of years. And I am talking about Jenny Craig's. I am talking about Weight Watchers, or those style of diet plans. I'm also talking about diet plans that we get from institutions like hospital diet plans, those types as well. You know, we go to hospital and then the dietitian comes around to see us and gives us a diet plan. So we know that the loss on these generic plans short term, around about 5% of your body weight's pretty normal short term results, which is okay, 5%. But here's the kicker: less than 15% of people who use these generic diet plans, because they tend to be quite overly restrictive, they tend to be really, really hard to maintain. So less than 85%, less than 15%. So 85% of people regain because they are just too restrictive. They're not sustainable. They're not lifestyle options. They are literally diets, right? Now let's talk about what we do, which is Boost Camp. So we have a food first philosophy. We have a coaching philosophy. So what I do with you guys every day that I do these videos, every day that you're watching, every day that you're listening, especially if you're at work and you've just got a headphone in and you're trying to act like you're not listening, right? Hands up in the chat who's doing that right now. Even if you're watching this as a replay, this is part of food first coaching. So every time I go live and I hopefully inspire and motivate you, I give you some knowledge. This is all about coaching, ongoing coaching for you guys. And guess what? You're not paying for this, right? This is all just a bit of your time. A little bit of your energy goes into this. But I believe so strongly in this food first coaching approach, which is Bridget's Healthy Kitchen and the 28-day Boost Camp. Because here is the good news. You could lose up to 10% of your body weight in the first 28 days if you do our food first coaching, our food first boost plans, right? Boost Camp, 28-day Boost Camp. In 28 days, you could lose up to 10% of your body weight. Short term, so we're talking in the first couple of months, you could be losing 12 to 15% of your body weight. And here's the long-term reality. If you do a food first coaching program like the 28-day Boost Camp, your success rate is 70 to 85% of people who do this, who follow Boost Camp, keep the weight off long term. That is the success rate. And no, you're not spending $20,000 plus on surgery and recovery. No, you're not spending, sometimes up to $1,000 a month for weight loss injections. No, you're not spending money on gym fees and then not going to the gym, right? But still paying the membership, right? What you're getting is the most affordable long-term solutions, because we're giving you sustainable solutions for life. And this, of course, think about it, will save future health costs as well. Less downtime because you're not getting sick as much as you used to. You're able, if you're working, you're able to go to work, right? There are so many benefits to this style, which is our food first coaching approach when it comes to long-term sustainable weight loss and, of course, health gain. So I want to give you my 10 strategies now. My 10 strategies. Oh, no, there you go. So Tony's at work and everyone's listening. Yay! I'll take that as a win, Tony. I'll take that as a win. So here we go. I'm going to give you guys my 10 strategies. 10, and of course, because you know me, it's all backed by science, right? It's all the science-backed evidence, but I'm going to make it as simple as I can for you guys when it comes to these 10 practical ways that you can boost your long-term success. 10 practical, actionable steps. All right, so here we go. Number one is we need to really be focusing on the nutrients. When we are focusing on a food first approach, what we are really saying here is that we are aiming for nutrient dense food. Often when we diet, like traditional diet, right? I'm talking about the traditional stuff. Often when we diet, what happens is we don't eat as much as we would normally eat. So we restrict ourselves. But in restricting ourselves, what also can happen is that we're not getting a good nutritional balance. So one of the things that we focus on when it comes to Boost Camp is understanding the importance of nutrient dense foods. So foods that give your body what it needs so you don't feel hungry. We're making sure that we're giving all of the nutrient balance that your body so desperately wants and needs. And when your body's got nutrients, you naturally feel fuller, you naturally feel satisfied. So, number one, we have a nutrient balanced, nutrient dense approach when it comes to food first. All right, number two, let's find my list. Number two, another really good idea for you guys. Number two is to eat protein early. So, eating protein at breakfast, which again is something that we just haven't grown up with, is it? You know, we would have toast and jam and cereal and a milky cup of coffee, and maybe we'll have a muffin or a crumpet or whatever it might be that made up our, our pre-Boost Camp diet. What we know is that eating protein early, which basically means having protein for breakfast, and you want to have at least 30 grams of protein for breakfast. How much is 30? How much, what does 30 grams of protein look like? So that is, you'll get about 30 grams of protein in around about 100 to 120 grams of, let's say, chicken or turkey or beef, something along those lines. Plus, of course, a couple of eggs. You could do it in there, a couple of eggs and a smaller piece of chicken. This is where you're going to get that 30 grams of protein. Now, the reason why we eat protein earlier, we have protein for breakfast, is because eating protein for breakfast means that you are cutting the risk of cravings throughout the day. So rather than skipping breakfast, please don't do that. I want you to eat your protein early. In other words, prioritize protein for breakfast. It's not the only time you're going to eat protein, by the way. You're going to continue to balance it out during the day, but make sure your breakfast is loaded with protein, lots of good fiber, and of course, healthy fats as well. As in number one, we're going to be balancing out those nutrients. So that is number two. Number three, you need to find your carbohydrate sweet spot, right? So not all carbohydrates are created equal. And what we want to do is we want to find carbohydrates, because you need to have carbohydrates in your diet, but we need to find carbohydrates that don't give you a blood glucose spike, and they actually give you a slow release of blood sugar. And they are things like our legumes, right? So I'm a big fan of lupin beans. If I was to say what your carb sweet spot might be, that would be something like lupin beans. But here's another carbohydrate for you, which is going to help you to find your sweet spot. And it's literally the sweet spot of carbohydrates. It's going to help to keep your blood sugar steady. It's going to help with insulin sensitivity. It's going to help with keeping you feeling satisfied. It's going to give you some energy. And it's really easy to take. Can anyone guess what that is? It is literally your sweet spot. So there are carbohydrates in Boost Protocol, which means that you're not getting crappy carbohydrates. You're getting good quality carbohydrates, which do all the things that we need our carbohydrates to do. Please don't forget there's also carbohydrates in vegetables. We find carbohydrates in vegetables as well. The carbohydrates you don't want are the ones that give you a massive blood sugar spike. We're going and aiming for the carbohydrates to keep your blood sugar steady, that help to give you some energy, that help to lower your insulin resistance and make you more insulin sensitive, and do all the things that, of course, something like Boost Protocol can do. So number three is you need to find your carb sweet spot, right? And we want to stay away from the spiky carbs. That's the one that spike your blood sugars, like anything made with white flour, white rice, any type of rice, if I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, and I like to be completely honest. We want to stay away from all of those things and look for the types of slow release carbohydrates that keep our blood sugar steady throughout the day. So that is number 3. Number 4, and this one is a real good one, by the way. I really like this one. Number 4, tiny habits over time mean big changes. The last thing that you want to do when you're looking to overhaul your approach to food, overhaul your weight, and overhaul your health, the last thing you want to do is try to do everything all at once. Because let's be honest, everything all at once is overwhelming. Everything at all at once freaks us out. Everything all at once means complete and utter changes. And sometimes we're not ready for all those complete changes. So we make all these, these lofty big goals, which are fantastic. We've all got to have goals, but we try and do everything at the same time. Tiny habits lead to big changes. And one of the things that I really like to do is something known as habit stacking. So I take existing habits, like, for example, my black coffee in the morning is an existing habit that I've had now for many years. And how I make tiny changes to that coffee. Well, firstly, the tiny change I made to that already habit that I had, which was I start my day with coffee. The tiny habit that I made to that first and foremost is I removed all of the milk. So I took out the milk. I didn't take it out all at once. I took it out quite slowly, if I'm to be honest with you. I reduced it down. I went from lattes, which is very milky, to flat whites. And then I gradually decreased the amount of milk I was having in that flat white. Didn't take very long, because then I realized that just a sort of an insipid, a couple tablespoons of milk just really wasn't cutting it. So I cut out the milk altogether. So my first tiny habit that I changed, in the grander scheme of things, think about it. I went from drinking milky coffees to drinking black coffee. Overall, if I just did that alone, it'd be great, but I wouldn't have seen a 35-kilo weight loss. Let's be real here, ladies and gentlemen. I wouldn't have seen that. There's just no way that I would have seen that, right, just by doing this one change. But it was one tiny habit change amongst hundreds of other little tiny habit changes. So the first thing I did is I went from milky coffee to black coffee. And my second tiny habit, right, as I continue to make tiny habits, and this one's only recent. I've been drinking black coffee now for nearly a decade. Since I first started this journey, I love it. It probably only took me not even a couple of weeks to learn to really enjoy my black coffee. You know, I now seek out my favorite coffee blend that I have. I've got a little pod machine that I use. I know exactly which is my favorite flavor of pod. And I just get that. And I feel great. And I love it. And when I'm not at home and not near my machine, I'm really sad. I really love the flavor of it. And I haven't just grown accustomed to it. I look forward to it. So my second tiny habit change that I made to do with my coffee is that I now add, my gosh, I'm going to talk about it again. I now add my Boost Protocol to one of my morning cups. I drink 2 coffees a day. I make sure that it's before 12 o'clock. That was another tiny habit change. I used to drink coffee right up to 6, 7 p.m. at night. I don't do that anymore because I know how it impacts my sleep. Another tiny habit change, right? On its own, wouldn't make the big difference that I wanted to see, which was the weight loss and the health gain. But combined with all these other tiny habits, yeah, I've been this way for nearly a decade, as in I've been at this weight and I continually get healthy. So those tiny habits, right? Boost Protocol is there now. I don't drink more than 2 coffees a day, or maybe 3 on very occasions. But again, I don't drink coffee after lunchtime because I know how it negatively impacts my sleep. So tiny habits. And if you attach them to old habits, if you're trying to make new ones, they become a lot easier to implement as well. That is number 4, tiny habits over time. Lots of them lead to big changes. Don't try to do everything all at the same time. We work up towards it, right? We work up towards it. All right, number 5. Here we go. Number 5. And this is super important. This really makes such a difference. You know how I talked about earlier on? I talked about the difference between getting a diet plan from the dietitian at the hospital compared with what we do here at Boost Camp. So the chances of long-term success from that diet plan from the hospital is less than 15%, right? Less than 15%. When you add number 5, which to that plan, and number 5 is support. Make sure you've got your support network around you. I like to think that I'm part of your support network, and it's one of the reasons why I do these regularly, because this is your coaching session. This is your boost. This is your go get 'em. This is your did you know? This is amazing, and giving you all these little tips and tricks that can make this journey just that much more successful for you. This is all a part of it. This is part of your support network, but it's much larger than me, right? It's much larger than me. Well, maybe you want to come and do regular nutritional coaching sessions, one-on-ones with me, so you get real in-depth information. Maybe you want to make sure that you are joining our Facebook group, our private community daily, to give that dose of inspiration, because yes, our community is part of your support network. Maybe you've got a support network at home. Maybe you've got your support network at work through your workmates, through your work colleagues. But getting support, number 5, is so incredibly important, because the chances of success versus if you do this solo, you do this on this own, the chances of your success massively increases. And we start talking about your success rate being in the 70+ percentage. So 70% more chance of you keeping to this long term if you have your support network around you. If you don't have any support at home, or you don't have any support at work, or maybe you don't want to tell anyone at home or tell anyone at work what you're doing, you've got us. You've got the community. You've got the Facebook communities, which is our private communities, BHK family, or if you're part of Boost Camp, the 28-day Boost Camp community as well is there to support. And then you've got me coming at you every single day. Well, not every single day. I do have some days off. I do need a bit of time off, but I do these lives as often as I can, because I want to make sure that I'm part of your support network, because I know how important it is for long-term success. And I really like sharing this information with you guys as well. It's super duper important. So Star is asking, is there research on fruit-only breakfast for weight loss? Yeah, there is a lot of research, Star, when it comes to fruit-only breakfast. And what the research is telling us is that fruit-only breakfast is not a long-term strategy if weight loss is your goal. So fruit-only breakfast, and especially depending on the type of fruit that you're eating, fruit has 2 types of sugars in it. It has fructose and it has glucose. Now, fructose is, well, that's kind of where you can see we get the name fruit from this fruit sugars. They're all natural sugars, of course. There's no added sugars in fruit, especially if you're having it fresh and if you're, having it, taking a big bite from an apple. But if you start your day with what is essentially a carbohydrate, a type of natural sugar, what you're getting in the morning is you're getting a blood sugar spike. And blood sugar spikes from carbohydrates, so spiky carbs, are literally the opposite of weight loss, if that is your goal. Because when your sugar is spiked and elevated, because we've eaten carbohydrates that have even natural forms of sugar in it, what you're getting is a sugar rise. And when your blood sugar is high, your body will not convert stored fat into energy, which is how we lose weight, is we use stored fat as energy. Your body will use up all the sugar and the glucose from the fruit that you've just eaten. So I never ever recommend to any of my nutritional clients, I never recommend to anyone on 28-day Boost Camp that we start our day the sweet way. We need to start our day with protein, fiber from vegetables, and healthy fats. You will feel fuller longer. You will stabilize your blood sugar instead of spiking your blood sugar, which is really important. You will also be less likely to be wanting foods, like crave foods at certain time of the day, because you're feeling more satisfied. You're giving your body all the nutrients, and you're not spiking your blood glucose or your blood sugar. So if you really want to look at a breakfast meal that is going to help and support weight loss and health gain, again, we're looking at good quality protein. Doesn't have to be animal protein. It can be plant-based protein, although animal protein is a better form of protein for our body, but you can use plant-based proteins. You want to aim for at least 30 grams of protein a day, which looks like about 120 grams or 4 ounces of animal protein: chicken, turkey, salmon, fish, beef, lamb, something like that, right? You want to also aim for a good amount of high fiber vegetables. Fiber is going to feed your healthy gut bacteria. It's going to stabilize your blood sugar. It's going to help your stomach to empty out slower, so you feel fuller longer, right? You're not suddenly 2 hours later going, and now I need some more food because my sugar went high and now I crashed. And then we're also going to triple down on our breakfast, making sure we've got some healthy fats in there, because there are certain vitamins and that are found naturally occurring in our food that need healthy fats in order for our body to absorb them. And they are vitamins A, D, E, and K. Super important. Well, every vitamin is super important to our body. Those ones in particular need fat. They're fat-soluble vitamins. So we make sure we have some healthy fats, like some olive oil or some nuts and seeds or some avocado, something along those lines, right? Even a little bit of avocado oil goes a long way. So there you go, Star. Hope that helps. We are up to number 5. Get support. Keep your support. Make sure you join our free Facebook group, BHK Family, where we continue these conversations. At 8, number 6. Number 6 is making yourself or giving yourself a bit of nutrition insurance. Now, that may be in the form of a good quality multivitamin. And again, not all multivitamins are created equal. That could be in the form of a probiotic capsule. Again, not all probiotic capsules are created equal. When you look at nutritional insurance, this is for if you're not doing our 28-day boost camp. If you're doing the 28-day boost camp, I build the nutrition in for you. But if you're not doing the 28-day boost camp and you are creating your own healthy meal plan or healthy way of eating, then I definitely recommend you have some nutritional insurance in there as well, because our body is like this it needs balance. And what can happen if we are creating our own healthy eating way? What can happen is that we tend to fall into patterns. And, we'll have the same thing for breakfast day in and day out. We'll have a very similar thing for lunch day in and day out. We'll even potentially have a very similar thing for dinner day in and day out. So what's happening when you're eating a very limited amount of nutrients is you're not getting nutritional balance. And there could be some really big macronutrients or micronutrients, which is all our vitamins and our minerals, that your body is regularly missing out on. So nutritional insurance looks like, and it has to be a good quality multivitamin, by the way. It has to be a good quality probiotic capsule, by the way. Or Boost Protocol, right? This is nutritional insurance right here. It really is. So we know that this supports gut health, which is really important part of a weight loss journey. We know that this is good for weight management. It helps the body to naturally release GLP-1, which is the artificial hormone that they pump into you when you take Ozempic. So the way that Boost Protocol helps the body to naturally release GLP-1 is that the signaling that happens in the gut, because this is profound and really good quality gut improvement. and the signaling that happens in the gut. Because remember, your gut is got as many nerve connections, if not more, than your brain. It's why they call the gut the second brain. And in fact, more information goes from the gut to the brain than from the brain to the gut. The gut bugs are always sending signals around the body. And one of those signals that it helps to increase secretion of is GLP-1, which is the signaling that you are satisfied and you are full. Boost Protocol helps to naturally do that. So from a weight management perspective and also a impressive gut health profile, I can't go past Boost Protocol. It's the reason why we now sell it, because I know how good it is for you guys. So this for me is nutritional insurance as well. And it's really important if you are going it alone in terms of your diet plan, or if you want to boost your results. This will create long-lasting results, of course, but it will also help to boost your results at the same time. So have a nutrition insurance plan. All right, make sure. All right, this is what number are we up to? We're up to number 7. Number 7. All right, number 7. Move throughout your day. And I'm not just talking about the gym, but I'm also talking about the gym. So making sure that you are active throughout your day is super duper important. Sedentary lifestyle is one of the biggest factors when it comes to long-term weight gain and long-term ill health, right? Being sedentary, not moving. And you know what happens? The more we choose foods that are not supportive of us. So we eat a lot of processed foods. We eat a lot of foods cooked by, fast food restaurant. I use that term really lightly when it comes to fast food. Fast food outlets, not a restaurant. Cafes, takeaways, boxes and jars and tins and pre-packaged meals. The more we lean into that convenience lifestyle, the less we move, because we just don't feel like it. We don't have the energy to move. We can't be bothered. Our body is putting on weight, so we're putting more stress on the joints. We find that we're in jobs like me right now. Today, I am sitting in front of this computer only for the next couple of hours, and then I'm back in the kitchen, which is very cool. But, we tend to spend more time sitting than we've ever done in history. And because we spend more time sitting, we are definitely leading more of a sedentary lifestyle now. So number 7 is practical tip for you guys: move throughout your day. Don't just save it up for that big old 25-30 minute walk that you do once a day. We need to do it throughout the day. Lift things carefully, of course. Lift things carefully. Carry things. Even the simple act of carrying, like carrying washing, or carrying a stack of books, or carrying children right now, like carrying babies around, or whatever it might be. We don't carry as much as we used to. I mean, we used to have to do things like carry water, right, down from the creek. There was all sorts of carrying that was happening. So move throughout your day. Don't just save it up for your gym session or your work. It's a good idea that you move often too. So for my team, I get them to set timers so that every 25 minutes they get up from their desk and they just maybe go downstairs, grab themselves a glass of water, make themselves a cup of tea or a coffee, go to have a toilet break, rather than always staying sedentary. So that is number 7. Okay, number 8, again, super important one, and one that you will hear us say pretty much definitely weekly, sometimes a couple times a week. We will talk about celebrating your non-scale victories or your non-scale wins, right? Your NSVs. Again, this is simple science for us, is that when we focus on the weight alone, we can become quite obsessive about it. The sooner we can move away from just focusing on the scales. Now, not saying that the weight is not a factor when it comes to your journey, because you can't manage what you don't measure. And for a lot of people, when they're first starting out, the scales are a convenient form of measurement. But if we just rely on the scales, we can become quite obsessive. And when we don't see a number looking back at us that we had hoped for, we can also feel quite down and out. So when we stop focusing on the scales and start focusing on those non-scale victories, those non-scale wins, what you will find, and this is what the science tells us, that the chances of long-term success massively, massively, massively increases. Why is that? Because you're focusing on how you feel, not that number that's coming back at you. You're not jumping onto the scales every single day and obsessing about it, but you're rather more obsessive about focusing on how much energy you have. How do you feel throughout the day? Are you sleeping better? Are your clothes looser? Right? Are you smiling more? That was one of the biggest things for me, was I found myself just smiling more. I found that I got my confidence back. You can't measure that on scales. You can't measure how I feel about myself now, what I'm prepared to do. Like even speaking to you guys like now was a massive, massive improvement to everything that I've done, because I'm going to be completely frank with you guys. A decade ago, you wouldn't have been able to even get me out of my room, let alone to do my hair, put on a bit of makeup and sit in front of you lovely people and have a chat of the morning and talk about my feelings and my thoughts and my science and my work. No way. No chance whatsoever. I would have been frozen in fear. Now I'm more than happy to do it. In fact, I feel I let myself down sometimes when I don't do it, because things, life and work gets in the way. So when you're able to stop focusing on that number on the scales and start living, because that's what it is. When we celebrate the non-scale victories, what we're talking about is we're living. We're living. We're living every day. We're recognizing what's actually important, which is, do I have the energy to get me through my day? Am I sleeping better so I have the energy to get me through my day? Are my clothes looking way better on me, which is way better than focusing on that scales? Like if I was to jump on the scales this morning, I didn't, by the way. I have no idea. I haven't been on the scales for, I don't know, for maybe well over a month. But if I was to jump on the scales today, my scales could not have in any way, shape of the imagination have told me, you feel great, don't you, today? You had a good sleep. Oh, look at you. That's a pretty skirt you have on. Love those shoes, looking amazing, feeling good. Now go out there and have a fabulous day. Have a great live session. Enjoy your podcast. No, scales can't tell me that. The scales would just gone, you are 65 kilos. Right? That's what they would have told me. They may have told me you're 66 kilos. Like, would that have freaked me out? They may have told me you're 64 kilos. I don't know. Who cares? Who cares? I don't, because I feel great. And when we're able to move from being weight focused to being life focused and energy and sleep and smiles and clothes fitting and confidence, the chances of long-term success massively increase. So that is our number 8. That's a good one, eh? I like that one. I really do. Okay, another practical one for you guys. Ready? Number 9. Avoid eating at least 3 hours before your head hits that pillow, right? You want a 3-hour gap before you go to sleep. Now, this is the reason why, this is the simple science behind it, is that late night eating really, really disrupts your metabolism. An early dinner, actually, an early dinner window, like I'm talking about early dinner, 3 hours before you go to sleep, which is, for me, I normally, I'm in bed by 10 o'clock. I'm asleep, like I shut down everything by 10:30. So I don't eat any later than 7:30. It's usually between 6:30 and 7 I have my dinner. That's my usual time. So I'm giving more than 3 hours. So late night eating will disrupt your metabolism. If that eating that you're doing is high in carbohydrates, high in energy, you will be storing that energy, because you certainly aren't using it up, are you? You're going to bed. You're not using up all that energy that you've just eaten in the form of carbohydrates. So what is your body doing? It's storing it instead. It's storing it. the other thing that happens if you're eating late at night, the other thing that happens is that you are overworking your digestive system when it should be at rest. So if you go to sleep or you try to go to sleep, you eat late and then you try to go to sleep, even if you do fall asleep, it's really difficult to get into a deep sleep because your gut is still going, your stomach especially is still going through the first stages of digestion, which is the busiest stage. So there is mechanical things happening. Your tummy is gurgling, it's throwing acid in there, natural acid, it's throwing enzymes in there, and it's blending everything up, it's gurgling away, it's working really, really hard. And so that hard work really prevents you from getting into a deep sleep. So your sleep will be disrupted, your metabolism will be disturbed, and you will be storing energy in the form of that food that you've just eaten will be stored on your body instead of being used up. So avoid late night snacking, late night eating. Allow at least, remember the magic number. The magic number is 3. 3 hours before bed, you need to stop eating. And here is your number 10. And this again is really important. So this is for anyone who is currently not on a boost camp. This is for anyone who has done a boost camp before and hasn't done one for a while. And even if you think you've been going along pretty well, it's a really good idea to do at least a quarterly reset. So these are like short refreshers. Again, it's about keeping the body out of its comfort zone. And often what is needed to keep the body out of its comfort zone is taking you back out and feeling a little bit uncomfortable, managed uncomfortable, right? And giving your body a bit of a reset. So giving you more nutritional balance, giving you more structure. This can actually really, really help to prevent any backsliding or weight gain coming back on. Because what can happen is even if you're doing really awesome, the body, again, like I said, it can get into a comfort zone. And when it gets into a comfort zone, sometimes it needs a little bit of a shock to its system, not a big one, just a little bit of a shock to its system in order to trigger everything back into action again. It's like you cycle in and cycle out. So even if you haven't done a boost camp for a while, or you've been eating fairly healthy on your own, it's a really good idea to come and do a boost camp because you're going to get that quarterly reset at least 4 times a year. Come back, do a boost camp, give that body just that little bit of diversity, which is important. Break you out of the comfort zone because your body doesn't do a lot of healing when it's comfortable. Your body doesn't do a lot of weight loss when it's comfortable. It's just comfortable. Why does it need to do anything? It just goes into almost like an automatic zone. So it's a good idea to do a quarterly reset. Of course, how do you do that? Come and join us on the 28-day boost camp. Absolutely. That is all you need. That is all you need just to get you there. Like just that little mini reset every 6 months, like once a quarter, if you really want to as well. Have a couple of months off and then come back and do a bit of a reset, especially if weight loss is your goal. So those are my 10 tips for you guys, 10 practical things that you can do, 10 practical things to make sure that we are making the most of this food-focused approach when it comes to long-term success. And we're not relying on medical interventions, which, by the way, all have side effects. Whether it's weight loss surgery, whether it's weight loss injections, whether it's diet pills, right? All of those things have side effects. You know what the side effects are to boost camp? You might have to go and do some shopping because you're going to need a different wardrobe. But that's the cool part. I'm not going to apologize for you having to go and buy some beautiful things, right? So you might have to have a clean out of your wardrobe as well, because your clothes don't fit anymore because they're too big. Be really careful. Another side effect of boost camp: be really careful of your jewelry. Because your jewelry, which may have been a little bit snug now. Look, I've had to put my ring on my other finger. I've had to put it on my other finger. This was my holding ring because I lost my engagement ring and my wedding ring. I lost both of them as my fingers got skinny and I didn't resize them quick enough. So now I've had this as a holding ring and I've had to move it to this finger because it started sliding off this one. So, Yeah, you might be very careful of your jewelry. That's definitely a side effect of boost camp. Side effect of boost camp. You're going to have to learn how to cook. That is a side effect, is you're going to have to learn a few things. But you know what? That's the beauty of boost camp, is that we all are able and have the opportunity not just to learn, but to really thrive from the knowledge, right? Knowledge is power. So when you learn a new dish, you are increasing. It's like, studying for school, right? It's not the best of things when we had to study for an exam, but I can still remember some of the stuff I studied back when I was, first year of high school. I can still remember some of those study notes. And so, every time you practice a new recipe, you do a new way of shopping, a new way of cooking, a new way of eating, you're learning, and knowledge is power. So that is a side effect. As your knowledge will increase, your knowledge of your body will increase as well. And another side effect, you might get annoying to some people. You might become that annoying person. And it's not because you're going, oh my God, I'm on a weight loss journey and all that sort of stuff. It's because they look at you and go, "Mm, how did she do it? How come he was able to lose weight?" I mean, another side effect is people will think you're on Ozempic. I often get asked, whether it was weight loss injections. A number of people, I haven't had it recently, but when I first started on this journey, they just thought I'd had weight loss surgery. That was kind of the gossip that was going around the family, that I had weight loss surgery. So yeah, that's another side effect, is people won't believe that you're using this food first approach, right? This food first support community approach that we have when it comes to BHK family in the boost camp. But you know what? They're good problems to have. It doesn't bother me at all that people think I've had weight loss surgery, that people just think I'm on Ozempic. I really don't mind, because I feel too good. I feel too good. And I'm like, man, if you just improved your nutrition as well, you'd probably stop with the silly gossiping and get on with your life. Come on, come join me. Come to the dark side. Come to the dark side, which is this amazing, wonderful, delicious existence that we have. So thank you for joining me today. I hope that you've gotten something interesting and exciting out of today's little chat. If you are joining me on YouTube and you want to be a part of our community, come over to Facebook, BHK Family. I do go live on YouTube and on Facebook when I do these types of podcasts. So hope to see you soon back here on the podcast. Until then, be well and be safe and have a fabulous day wherever you are in the world. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.